Thank you very much. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, a pleasure for me to be present amongst such a concise, precise, interested audience, right? Normally in a team of cricket, and Shrikant is famous for cricket, there are at least 11 players. If not 11, there should have been at least 2. I think my partner, Sudhakar Rao, and a dear friend is not here, so I'll have to bat from both the ends. But the topic today itself is something which, we can talk about it, talk about the implications it can have till the cows go home, without actually understanding the whole scope of it. I was interested to hear whatever the young lady was asking, the question, and where she mentioned that a CXO was talking about, can it satisfy my wife? Can it take care of her queries and everything else? Well, this question is not new to me because I was asked this question close to about 38 years ago. As a young faculty member, I was supposed to help people in the banking industry understand, and Mr. Narendra Panjwani, the secretary of the India Bankers Association, was there in the classroom, and we were talking about how computerization will not take away jobs. And there also a similar question was asked, and I said, sorry, that is one thing that it cannot do. And today also the answer remains the same. But what I want to point out over here is that today when you go to an ATM to take out money, do you call it e-banking? No, it is banking. I think your phone's ringing. No problems. So you don't call it e-banking, it is banking. Similarly, come 30 years down, things have changed where today you don't have to stand in queues for taking out money from the bank and so on and so forth. Everything is there at a flick of a button. How did this happen if you look at it? Till 1981-82, microcomputers were there which were special purpose machines for doing certain things. 81-82, IBM was the first organization that came up and introduced general purpose computing. And that is where the entire trends changed, the entire shift happened. Today, if you look at it, the same situation is there when ChatGPT moved away from the domain of NLP and other scientific things and came into general purpose AI. And that is where the complete change and shift has started happening, right? I used to be teaching AI way back in 92, 93, where we used to talk about artificial intelligence and expert systems. There was no machine learning at that time. It was expert systems. And some of you would have done your computer degrees in those days, would remember it. We used to program in Prolog and Lisp, right? That's what we used to do. It was only fuzzy logic had started coming. Power of compute was very limited. It was a story-based. We used to capture the explicit and the tacit knowledge of experts, right? For example, a doctor, we know that if you put a thermometer in your mouth and it goes beyond 98.6, you have fever. That's a rule. Tacit knowledge was when a doctor used to check your nerve and then say, okay, you've got a stomach upset. He also himself may not know why he's saying that. And the same thing is established today through data sets. So there is nothing that has changed over the years apart from one thing, power of compute. Second thing, if someone thinks that your jobs will go away, I'm sorry to say, no jobs will go away, but like in banking, the roles got redefined. In fact, contrary, 170 million jobs globally will be added by 2035. And that's the fact. Roles would get redefined, productivity will be enhanced. So what do we do about it? How do we start training our students? Today, for the first time in Telangana, ICT has been introduced in government schools in the 1st to 5th grade. And AI has been introduced in government schools from 6th to 9th grade. And I was fortunate to be part of that committee which actually recommended what should be included. And the biggest thing that we have included is development of critical problem solving and thinking. In my previous avatar as CEO NASSCOM Foundation, or in my present avatar, or earlier I used to work for a virtual university, wherever I have interacted with students or faculty members, I always ask only one question, which is, if I have to empty the Indian Ocean using a bucket, how much time it will take, right? And just to make it more interactive, I'll probably throw up this question over here itself in front of all this August gathering also. Anyone, of course, some people have heard this thing earlier, like some of my friends sitting here in the audience. Apart from that, please, if anyone would like to, give me a solution for it. How much time will it take for me to empty the Indian Ocean using a bucket? Anyone, please. I want it to be more interactive, otherwise, I don't want it as a standard keynote, because I'm not reading from a note, as you can see. Anyone, please? Okay. No time would be sufficient, okay? Sure? Excellent, excellent. That's exactly what we need to tell our students. Please don't get bound by the traditional inside-the-box thinking. Open your mind and have out-of-the-box thinking. Absolutely right. If the size of the bucket is bigger or equal to the size of Indian Ocean, it'll take fraction of seconds. So I was asking this question, and one of the boys stood up and said, "Sir, but then where will you put that water?" I said, "Into the Pacific Ocean." So anyway, the point is, we as educators, we need to prepare our students for the future. And one of the things we need to do to them is help them understand, critically analyze problems and try to solve it. I was talking about this, and one of my friends who was from the Air Force stood up and said, "We have a similar question in the Air Force also." He said, "How many monkey tails, right? Tails of monkeys would be used to reach up to the moon, right?" So normally 1.5 feet monkey tails, and people start talking about it. But the answer for that also is, depends on how long the tail is, right? So everywhere we need to understand that instead of teaching syntax, right? Today in our institutions, we are teaching Python, tomorrow will be Cobra, it'll be something else day after tomorrow. We don't know. Instead of teaching that, please focus on basic. As all of us are talking about, most of the programming today, be it in software programming, app programming, is on its way out. Maximum 1 year, 2 years, I'm being very, very optimistic, right, will be required. And post that, everything, all coding will vanish. Everything, today we are already talking about, we have partnerships with Automation Anywhere, with UiPath, all these companies which are into RPA, which is low code, no code. But with AI coming in, RPA is now on the way out, and you're talking about enterprise-wise automation and augmentation. 5.0 said automation. 6.0 says augmentation. And that is how, if you look at it from the time when I used to teach AI, it has changed so much. Automation, augmentation, it was conversational AI first, then it became generative AI, and now it's agentic AI. One thing more that we need to tell our students is, if you are believing that 17 plus 4 plus full stop is the way life is going to be, I'm sorry. It is 17 plus 4 plus 40. It's a lifelong learning. You have to keep on learning. Learnability is going to be one of the most important skills for the future. agility, adaptability. I still remember in Telangana when suddenly COVID hit and government said colleges have to go on, but have to go online, right? Couple of days, first few days only, I saw faculty members taking classes where they were standing and writing on the blackboard or whiteboard. And all the students were doing were playing games on their mobiles. Very quickly, the faculty adapted and said, study this on your own. I will talk about how it could be applied, what is the concept behind this particular thing. And once that started happening, the power of technology could be used. Again, as educators, we need to ensure that we are able to use the power of technology, right? That's very, very important. We have to change from teachers to educators or facilitators more likely, right? Facilitation has to be done. We should be able to only let them study the things, online, but let them get back to the class with relevant how things are to be applied. That becomes the most important thing. Just take an example. I can take 5 more minutes, right? Yeah, okay, great. So whenever we are talking about the application, so there was this wonderful friend of mine, a professor in one of the colleges, I would not like to name. He had a thermodynamics exam and he wanted to prepare a question paper, so he went to one of the AI tools. AI is nothing but a tool, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it is. We have to use it. But AI is also applied intelligence. Please apply your own intelligence for selecting the right one. Otherwise, this is what happens. He went to the AI tool, said, I want a 10-question paper to be formed. One should be a question with a diagram for 40 marks. Remaining should be short answer questions and about 20 marks of MCQ. Sure enough, the paper got printed and done. But he forgot one thing, that if he can use AI, students are even much more faster in it. And students had also done the same thing and they went one step ahead. They said, also provide the solution for it. Right? So AI is there, but we have to use human intelligence along with AI to understand what is the right thing. Otherwise, what happened recently in US, one of the banks did not give loans to women and certain marginalized communities. Why? Because traditionally the bank had not given loans to them. Hence, the data that was there didn't have any records where loans were given to these black community and certain other marginalized communities. And that's what happened. So they realized where the problem is. And we used to call it in our day and age when we used to program as GIGO, garbage in, garbage out, gold in, gold out. Today we are sophisticated, so we call it hallucinations. It's the same thing. Right? It is biases that are built into the system due to improper data. If you see any time, any tool that you are using in AI, now of course you have ChatGPT 5 that came out earlier this week itself, right? It says very clearly that we are not responsible for the accurateness of this answer. Please verify it before using it. And that is where it is. So what we need to teach our students, I've already spoken about: agility, adaptability, we have spoken about resilience, we have spoken about learnability. Other things that we need to tell our students is, which we have not done till today, right? As parents, we tell our kids, eat this, this is good for you. When you come to class, school, elementary school, the teacher says, learn this by heart, because tomorrow there's an oral recitation test. We as professors, what do? Ye question chhod do. It has come last year in the exam. Concentrate on this question. This is more important for you from an examination point of view. Right? We encourage rote learning and we don't. Imagine if a doctor undergoes a skilling like an engineer is getting skilled today, and I am lying on an operating theater table, what will be my chances of survival? Stomach ulcer? Oh, I had left that question because it had come last year, right? And that is where we need to ensure that we are able to create content also, right? Help our students in such a manner that it is interesting for the student. Another thing which I would like to also mention over here is that please use AI as a tool, right? Across, you can create content, you can create anything that you want. It will help you. You can say that, okay, I want 10 examples on how the projectile motion or bubble sort works in a particular language, or what is the logic behind it. Everything can be done. As educators, let's start using it. This is the age where AI is not going to replace you, but it is going to move from tasks to value creation. Today, in my office itself, if I have to see, we work with 760 plus colleges across the state of Telangana. We have skilled 1.5 million students as of date. We have skilled close to about 25,000 faculty members in both pedagogy and technology. If I want to do a feedback, I don't ask for a report. I tell my team, please analyze it using AI and make it meaningful for me so that I know what needs to be done. And that is where it has moved from mundane task to value creation. And that is how AI should be used. I think on this note, if there are, do we have time for some questions? Yes, okay. So I think I would like to thank you for such a patient listening. And I'll be happy to answer 3 questions. Okay, sure. Thank you. Anyone? No questions? Great. So, yes, sir.
Sir, in Telangana, you said a lot of schools are there, faculty are there.
In fact, most of our colleges are in the districts itself, right? While out of the 760 plus colleges, we have, all the Malla Reddys of the world, etc. and everything, all Anurag University and most of the universities are there, or colleges are there as part of our task. But all social welfare, tribal welfare, BC welfare, government degree colleges, government polytechnics are also part of it. And our courses are for all. What we have also started to do is working with SCRT, right? We have told them that we would be happy to run faculty development programs for them so that they can understand what kind of pedagogical approach they should have while teaching these students, because it has to be experiential learning. Definitions today, earlier it used to be Google University, now you have got so many more universities that are there. So it doesn't make sense to keep on rote learning and doing things. We have to change, we educate everyone right from school upwards.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else, please?
This Telangana 760 colleges, the infrastructure is sufficient to, once the faculty is trained, students are trained, like digital infrastructure, both hardware and software, is it available in these colleges, both government and aided and private?
Yes, definitely, definitely. In fact, any college today, if you look at it, right, and I'm talking about a basic college in Adilabad or Asifabad or whatever, right, definitely they have the infrastructure. People who are there, the students, because we want to democratize opportunities, right? We have also set up 15 of our centers where students who don't have access to colleges can come to our centers in Asifabad, in Mancherial, in all these districts where we have created centers for helping these youth undergo the skills programs over there also. That is what task is done.
Urban is not a problem. What about rural part?
Rural I'm talking about.
These 15 are in rural.
Asifabad is a tribal district. Mancherial, Mulugu, all these are rural districts.
Okay.
I'm not talking about Warangal. Warangal, everything is there. Khammam, in the IT tower, we have centers. So I'm not talking about those at all. I'm talking about absolutely, way and beyond kind of colleges.
Sir, I have a question. I'm to your left.
Yes, please.
Professor Satya from Ethames.
Yes.
I've been an acolyte of your work over the past 4 or 5 years, sir. You may have answered this question because I joined the Q&A only now. Maybe this could be a repetition. We are seeing some evidence of slack in the IT industry. You saw 2 weeks ago, TCS market capitalization went down by 30,000 at the stroke of one announcement. Now we know that AI is going to fundamentally alter the technology landscape, and India is going to unfortunately bear the brunt of it, considering that we have ridden the wave of IT over the past 30 years. So what we need right now is not merely a focus on best practices, but also on next practices.
Absolutely.
So I would like you to maybe throw some light on how are we preparing our students for some of these very cataclysmic transitions that we will see in the job market over the next 4 or 5 years.
Thank you for that question. I think that's a very, very relevant question, especially for the educators in the room. First thing is what we need to understand is, and I don't know how many of you, and can I see a show of hands this time? How many of you have seen a Kerala snake boat race? Right? Most of you have. If I'm sitting this way, right, and rowing, what will be the direction in which my boat is moving? I'll be moving in that direction, which means I'm seeing what I've done in the past and I'm trying to predict the future. Correct? And that's the stage that we are right now. No one can predict the future, right, very clearly as to what it will be. How will things change? Will quantum computing move in the photonics way or not? There are so many questions that are open. Standing right now for future for India, we need to concentrate on fundamentals, right? We need to focus on multidisciplines. India is not into nanotechnologies at all these days. The reason being only one, which is we don't have interdisciplinary, intradisciplinary, multidisciplinary programs. NEP 2020 talks about it. We have to ensure that we get these kinds of initiatives also in. We need to, I'm sorry I'm making a statement in front of people from, I think some of you would be teaching computer science also, but India has truly missed the software bus. 1990s, mid-1990s in fact, India created one product which was Finacle, created by Oracle, by Infosys. After that, there has been no product that has been created from India. We are only catering to services and operations. And that is the reason why we'll be hit the maximum, right? Because we have not moved up the value chain. It's time we should move up the value chain. Today, for example, we did a program recently for some of our district students on microservices using Java bots, right? We have already partnered with QNX, which is a real-time operating system, because everything is going to be real-time now in the future, be it EdTech, MedTech, whatever, right? So that's the direction we have to take. We have to take, leaps of faith and move in these directions. And if you ask me very frankly, skills is a dead horse, as per me. My 38 years of experience, I have tried to come up with a new model, which I call as C3AI. C is competencies, A is attitude, second A is aptitude, third A is aspiration, and I is for interest. If we are able to marry this model with whatever you are teaching, then we'll be able to do things. Today, the unfortunate problem is we have a monkey, we have a crocodile, we have a giraffe, we have an elephant, and we are telling them to climb a tree. That's what our education system is. Correct? We have to ensure that using AI, we have adaptive learning, introduced. Ensure that everyone in the classroom is included, right? So all these things will have to do. And biggest thing is innovate and unlearn, relearn. That's what it is. That's the only way. And multidiscipline is a must. Earlier, another example, if I talk about automobile engineers, right? If you knew ICE engine, that was good enough. Today, for an EV, you need to understand chemistry because it's batteries that are powering the thing. The battery distribution system, you need to understand electronics. For your steering and everything else, mechanical. Because your system is connected, your car is connected online, you need to understand cyber security because anyone can hack into your audio system to understand where you're going for having your dinner tonight. You need to understand AI and ML because it's going to auto park and it probably moving ahead could be an autonomous vehicle. So imagine for a single discipline like automobiles, you need so many things. And that is where we need to ensure as educators we are able to pull this kind of a thing. And that can only happen by upgrading ourselves. Ensuring that everyone takes out time, uses AI as a tool to come across things and make it education and learning. And everything has to be hands-on. Today, for example, when we were skilling people for on pharma, right? I cannot put a reactor in the classroom. I couldn't put a production plant in the classroom. But I can use VR headsets and project whatever the person is doing so that there is peer learning also. So there are multiple things, I think, with XR, AR, VR, XR, a lot of things can be simulated and we can do. So I think AI can be used for creating anything and everything. Let's use the power of it, combining it with IoT devices, combining it with 5G, 6G, as well as this, and that's where we have to move. That's the only long and short of it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Sir, just the last one, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, very good morning, good afternoon, everything. Sir, I served 3 large industries and I am now in power sector and green technologies. Just as a one question to you.
Please.
Preparing for India's future economy, sir, number one, and a green and digital economy, what I am looking at. There are, what do you say about, training in vocational education and training? It should be built separate programs or it should be, directly introduced in the university itself on critical thinking, effective communication, or a robust media study. Yesterday, one of the speakers was saying, Google paid only to India 27,000 crores for a content creator, sir. How huge market it is. What is your say on this? And it will open a huge economy. Should we have a, design thinking, or should we have a structured curriculum or a programs, how to create a content, diverse country like ours, how we can go about it, sir, from your perspective? I would like to know, sir.
Sure. So, you said it's a diverse country, right? That is where the advantage is. We can use AI to contextualize every example as per the particular, the diversity itself. So that's point number one. Point number two is, yes, design thinking and all these concepts that I spoke about should be from school upwards. I think we kill creativity, right? And we need to encourage creativity. Talking about the green jobs quickly that you spoke about, there are 2 types of green jobs. One is traditional jobs being converted into green. For example, NCL or any of these coal mines, etc., using solar power technology for extracting, right? Similarly, there are existing jobs that can be added to and create as green jobs. And plus, there are new jobs which will keep on coming in the future. Right? For example, hydrogen has started coming in. So a lot of such jobs will come in. New materials, and it's not only green jobs, creating new materials right? So material science. All these also will keep on changing drastically. And we have to be aware of not only what the development is, but be part of it. As Abraham Lincoln said, the best way of doing anything is creating history yourself. Be part of that chain. And that's what it is. You have to ensure that our institutions are creating curriculum, right? We can't continue the glacial pace that our universities are following today, right? Unfortunately, our engineers are only taken as QA, QC people. Government of India today, through various schemes, 66,000 crores project is now being given for modernization of ITIs, 1,000 ITIs. So government is also looking at that while we miss the software bus, if we miss the manufacturing bus now, and especially in semiconductor and other things, India can never be a developed nation. So that's where my take on it is. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for such a patient listening.